The topic of balance in Tekken 8 is in a very weird spot right now in the game. So if I were to ask you, would you rather have a fighting game with a roster having every single character be strong or be viable at the highest level, or have a fighting game roster that has strong characters and weak characters on purpose? Which would you prefer? I'm sure at least 90% of you would rather have a roster that has a lot of characters viable, at least most of them be viable at the highest level. So this is kind of the state we're in Tekken 8 right now. But why aren't people still not happy about the state of the game or the state of the overall balance of the game? Do we want to go back to having low tier Lars like Tekken 7? Like, do we want to go back to having low tier Armor King for God knows how many seasons? This is something that has me thinking, just why don't people love the state of Tekken 8 despite every character being strong right now? Well, there are a few reasons to this. So let's first talk about the balance in Tekken 8. When people talk about balance in Tekken 8, they mostly refer to the hit mechanic. I've made countless videos on this because a lot of people feel as though the hit is the core aspect of what's wrong with this game, or the biggest issue with this game is hit. Balance out hit and a lot of characters lose like that huge chunk of what makes them strong in Tekken 8. So if we take a look at characters outside of hit, are they still balanced? Like, do we still have viable characters outside of hit, or are most of these characters relying mostly on hit to actually be good in this game? So let's first talk about why I say every character is viable in Tekken 8. So obviously, early season 1, we had characters that are considered low tier or like mid to low tier. Characters like Lars, characters like Leroy, Raven, right, Panda, Asuka, all these were considered to be low tier characters, or at least bad characters in comparison to the rest of the cast, or at least most of the cast. Now come season 2, we all know the story of season 2. Everyone got giga buffed, everyone became a super fucking Saiyan, everyone became Goku level. And yes, although we have had some nerfs to this day, everyone still remains strong. Like, dude, I play Lars, I play Raven, I play Leroy, all these were considered to be like mid to low tier characters. Even Steve at launch was not considered to be as good. And I can confidently say that all of these characters are now fucking cracked, bro. Like, as a Lars main, this character just becomes a god when he goes into hit. Like, I don't know what they're thinking with Lars, but he's actually insane. Raven right now, super strong. Leroy also super strong as well. Steve, despite the changes, is still a strong character. So in terms of balancing in every character being viable, every character being buffed, we have that right now in Tekken 8. So what's the problem? Why aren't people satisfied? Well, like I said, mostly it's because of the hit mechanic. So to give you guys a bright idea of where I'm coming from, let's take a look at Marvel vs. Capcom 3. So this is a 3v3 fighting game. I'm sure most of you are familiar with it, or at least have seen it. And the way this game is individually, you do have characters that are like super low tier, like characters considered bad characters are considered bad when you look at them on paper on their own. But what makes this game very interesting is the team dynamic. It's a 3v3 game, so even a low tier character like Hulk can be considered top tier if put in the right team. But like even that, so Marvel vs. Capcom 3 has the comeback mechanic called XFactor. This is basically just like the hit mechanic of Tekken 8, or Rage if hit was not in Tekken 8, but XFactor is equivalent of hit because you can pop it anytime and just do some crazy shit. So just to give you guys a brief explanation on how XFactor works, I won't go too deep, like despite my love for this game, Marvel 3 goated as fuck. So XFactor basically makes you do shitload of damage like Rage. It speeds up your character depending on how many characters you have left. So if you have one character left, he becomes like super fast. He also deals so much damage. You can also cancel out of a lot of animations and make a bunch of stuff safe. So let's take a look at Dante here. Dante from DMC5. We all know Dante. We all know Devil May Cry, guys. If you don't, play some other games. Expand your horizon, expand your catalog. So Dante is a very all-around character in Marvel 3, a very well-rounded character. Of course, he has Pandora's box, he has a bunch of different weapons, he has good range, like he has everything, an air dash, he has a good load, does not have an overhead, opens up opponents with his dash up heavy, which is like a cross-up you have to block the other side. Dante is considered to be a very well-rounded character. However, if Dante goes into XFactor, nothing much changes with the character. He doesn't really take advantage of this mechanic than most of the other characters in the game. So I don't want to go too deep, but think of it this way, right? Dragonov in Tekken 8. So Dragonov in hit doesn't really get all much. It's not that different except for when it actually lands that tackle. He doesn't really utilize hit the same way as a character like Bran would do. So think of XFactor on Dante like Dragonov in hit, basically the same way. And then when we take a look at his brother, Virgil. Virgil is a character that's like really insane in XFactor. He's a god. He's basically Bran in XFactor, and he can do some really crazy shit. And like sometimes this is what really defines a character's identity in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, because you put characters that take advantage of XFactor as your final character. Like you have one character left, you pop XFactor and just go crazy, right? Because you know that character is particularly strong in XFactor. Now, to differentiate XFactor from hit is the fact that XFactor does not have mechanics like hit dash or the hit smash or hit engager. You pop XFactor and every character does something different, unique to how they take advantage of this mechanic. Let me break it down by talking about Rapid Slash, which is a move by Virgil. So this move basically, he dashes across the screen and it's called a cross-up. Basically, he hits you the other side. You have to block by holding forward if he does this move. So when he goes into Devil Trigger, he becomes faster, the move becomes faster. But if he goes into Devil Trigger and then he pops his XFactor, Virgil can now combo off of this Rapid Slash move. Of course, he can combo it on his own with a team, however, but if you want to do this just as Virgil himself, you have to pop XFactor and you have to pop your Devil Trigger as well. So this is what I mean. They take advantage of XFactor in different ways, in their own unique ways. I can go on and on about how every character on Marvel 3 has a different XFactor. Like Hawkeye, for example, he just becomes an annoying zoner. You can't really touch Hawkeye when he's in XFactor because he just spams arrows, he spams his level 1 super over and over again. So every character uses XFactor very differently. But in Tekken 8, it's not the same. Everyone does the same shit using hit. Like outside of their core, like I guess identity, like for example Raven's clones becoming safe, Paul Phoenix having strong like Death Fist moves. Yes, that's kind of unique to them, but like outside of that, like the core mechanics of hit, right? Hit smash, hit engager, hit dash, everyone just does the same thing. So XFactor still makes characters very unique and very different, but hit really does not, right? Every character just, it feels very repetitive, right? Boom, hit smash into wall splat, or hit smash into floor blast, hit smash into floor break. It's very monotonous and it does not have like that identity. So like this is why I feel like Marvel 3 still feels good, even though every character is like super buffed right now, and Tekken does not. And this is the word we can use, right? Overtuned. Tekken 8 is overtuned. It's nice having even low tier characters be good, like yeah, Lee, you know, Devil Jin. Despite what people say about these characters, they're still good, they're still viable. It's nice, but a lot of stuff in this game is overtuned. You know, Lars running 1, why is that a homing move? Leroy back 2 in hit is like super strong, you know. So there's a lot of stuff that's just overtuned in the game, and like despite having a strong character, it still doesn't feel fun. There is no satisfaction from winning a lot in this game because it doesn't feel as though you're working for stuff. If you go back to Marvel, like you have to work in this game, bro. Combos are mad difficult. You have to have execution, you have to have confirms, sick just frame stuff like flight, characters, movement, confirms from assists. Like you actually have to work. Even when using XFactor, you have to work your ass off. But if Tekken 8, I pop into hit, I press one button and I have access to a 60 damage hit smash. That's the biggest difference. Marvel has managed to make every character viable with teams and still keeping every character unique and still feeling as though you're getting payoff from doing all this broken shit. That's what Tekken 8 has failed to capture. Everything is just handed to you in this game. Everything is super easy surrounding hit, and for most players there is no satisfaction that comes with that. I think that's the only part that they've missed. But let me point this out across. I love the idea of having every character strong. I love seeing people cook with fucking Panda online, bro. Like I love that shit. Seeing Raven be strong, seeing my boy Lars be finally a god in this game. I love that. But it's just the execution, guys. Just the execution. I don't have a satisfaction, bro. Like the shit in this game is so fucking draining. So if they can just work around that Hit mechanic, bro, is like we're cooking, man. We're cooking. If we can have hit similar to what Lee has, hit similar to what Dragonov has, even Jin has a very good hit outside of his hit smash. I think this game would be very good in terms of just having viability for every single character and just overall fun of having every character be seen at the highest level. You know, I think we're right there. We're so close, but like, is Namco willing to pull the trigger? That's the question that's there. That's the question, right? So it's good. I like the idea that everyone is strong, but it still needs more work. We still see a lot of different characters in top 8. So there's a lot of character representation. We're seeing a bunch of Asuka now. You know, Yoshi. We saw 3 Eddies at the mix-up, right? That's pretty insane. So every character is fucking strong right now, which is good, but they're a bit overtuned, which is a sad part. If they can find that balance with Marvel 3, like Marvel 3, we're cooking on gas, my boys. We are cooking on fucking gas. So that's what I wanted to talk about in terms of balancing in Tekken 8, boys. How do you feel about the overall balance of the game? Like, do you think this is what Tekken should be, having every character this strong, or would you prefer having your common low tiers and the common high tier characters? Like, how do you find the right balance on a fighting game when it comes to making every character viable? I would love to hear your takes on this, boys, because it's weird. I like that every character is strong, but I don't feel satisfied. It's just a very weird, I don't know, but it's Tekken 8. Hey, it's Tekken 8. It's the game. It is what it is. Anyway, thank you so much, Nemi Gang, for taking time to watch my video. If you made it this far, as usual, don't forget to that like button, subscribe if you're new, and as usual, may the frame data be ever in your favor. GG, Nemi Gang.